There's a version of your life that you're not living. You know roughly what it looks like. The job, the project, the conversation you've been putting off, the thing you keep meaning to start. And yet, every day, it still does not happen. And the idea of doing it gets harder and harder. That's not procrastination. That's not weakness. That's your comfort zone doing exactly what it was designed to do. And it's costing you more than you think. Welcome to Perspectus, a channel where we break down ideas, concepts, and moments of history. The aim is to build a community of people who are committed to growth, perspective, and understanding. If that's you, then you're in the right place. You've heard it many times before. Step out of your comfort zone. This is motivational advice, and you've probably already ignored it. But what is actually happening inside your brain, biologically, every day that you stay inside it? By the end of this, hopefully we'll gain an understanding of why the zone doesn't just keep you still. Instead, it actively shrinks, and why comfort is held on to long enough, it stops feeling like safety and begins to feel like a cage. Think about the last time you tried something genuinely new. Not slightly outside your usual routine, but actually new. A skill you had no foundation in. A situation you couldn't predict. Something where you weren't sure you could do it. Remember the feeling? The mixture between focus and mild dread. The way time moved differently. That feeling has a name, and it's not a bug. In 1908, two Harvard psychologists named Robert Yerkes and John Dodson ran a series of experiments trying to understand the relationship between pressure and performance. What they found has shaped psychology ever since. Performance doesn't peak at zero stress. It peaks at moderate stress, at a level of arousal high enough to sharpen focus and energy, but not so high it tips you into overwhelm. Too little pressure, boredom, drift, and flat output arise. Too much results in panic, paralysis, and collapse. The sweet spot sits in the middle. This became the Yerkes-Dodson Law, and it's where the modern concept of comfort zones actually comes from. The zone isn't a self-help metaphor. It's the low end of the performance curve. The state where the demands on you fall so far below your capability that no meaningful adaptation can actually happen. Here's what it means in practice. When nothing is asking anything of you, your brain has no reason to change. It's not cruel, but efficient. The brain is a resource management system, and it only builds where it's needed. And inside the comfort zone, it isn't needed at all. The zone was always meant to be a place you pass through. But many of us now live in it. The zone that shrinks. You've probably noticed something happen to people who stop challenging themselves. Not dramatically, but gradually. It's a slow killer. The person who used to travel alone now finds the idea overwhelming. The person who was sharp in meetings now feels anxious about presenting to a small group of people. The friend who played sport every week stopped for 2 years, and now they're not really a sporty person. Nothing happened to them. They just stayed still long enough. Here is the biology behind it. Every time you practice something at the edge of your ability, something slightly beyond what you can already do automatically, your brain builds. There's a substance called myelin. This is a fatty material that wraps around your neural pathways, insulating them the way a rubber wraps around a wire. More myelin means a faster, cleaner signal. It's the brain's upgrade mechanism. The critical part, myelin only forms in response to use, specifically the kind of use that involves effort, attempting something that isn't yet automatic. Stanford neuroscientists found that the neural activity directly promotes this growth. Every time you push past something comfortable, your brain physically starts building faster roads inside it. The critical part, myelin only forms in response to use, specifically the kind of use that involves effort, attempting something that isn't yet automatic. Stanford neuroscientists found that neural activity directly promotes growth. Every time you push past what is comfortable, you're physically building faster roads in your own brain. And when you stop pushing, those roads don't stay the same. they atrophy. The brain quietly redistributes its resources away from pathways that aren't being used. This is why skills disappear, why your confidence erodes. This is why things that once felt manageable start to feel enormous. Research published in Psychological Science added something that cuts against the standard narrative. Students who actively sought discomfort didn't just improve more, they became more invested in the very tasks that made them uncomfortable. The brain, it turns out, interprets challenge as significance. Difficulty becomes a signal of something that matters. Carl Jung spent a lifetime studying the psychology of growth. He described the process of becoming fully yourself. This is what he called individuation, as inherently requiring confrontation with the unfamiliar. You cannot discover what you're capable of without going somewhere you have never been. And you cannot go somewhere you have never been from inside your comfort zone. The comfort zone doesn't hold you still, it contracts around you. There is a pattern in the lives of people who ended up somewhere remarkable. It's not that they were fearless. Most of them weren't. It's that they kept moving anyway. And when you look closely as to what drove them, it's almost never absence of doubt. It's the decision to act despite it. Joseph Campbell spent decades studying myths, the stories every culture on earth tells about heroes. Across every tradition, every era, and every part of the world, he found the same structure. A hero living in a familiar world. A call to leave it. A threshold of fear to cross. And on the other side, the thing they were looking for. He distilled this into one line. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The cave isn't some grand metaphor. It's the difficult conversation you've been rehearsing for 2 weeks and still never had. It's the business you've been planning for 2 years but never started. It's the creative work you've been keeping private because you're not sure it's good enough, or the relationship you've been too guarded to pursue. The cave is wherever you've been standing outside and telling yourself it isn't the right time. Abraham Maslow put it with a different language, but the same precision. In 1961, he wrote, "One can choose to go backward towards safety or forward towards growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again. Not once, the choosing is the practice. Every day is a new decision." Eleanor Roosevelt, who by any measure should have lived the most sheltered of lives, made herself a rule. Do one thing every day that scares you. Not something reckless, something that costs you just a little piece of your comfort. She understood something that most people miss. Courage isn't a trait that you either have or you don't. It's a capacity that builds over time, just like myelin. Seneca said it most sharply. It is not the things that are difficult that we do not dare. It is the things that we do not dare because they are difficult. The obstacle out there is mostly a reflection of the daring you haven't spent yet. Each of these people arrived at the same conclusion from completely different directions. The world available to you is not fixed. It expands and contracts based on where you choose to place your attention and effort. Optimal discomfort, but not maximum. So, here's where the advice usually goes wrong. Step out of your comfort zone. This usually gets interpreted as do something terrifying. Quit your job or move to a new country. Throw yourself into the deep end and trust that you'll learn to swim. But Yerkes and Dodson also found a ceiling. Past a certain point, too much pressure stops helping and begins to destroy. Too much novelty, too much uncertainty, too much at once, and the brain doesn't grow. Instead, it panics. Decision-making collapses. Learning shuts down entirely. The goal isn't maximum discomfort. Instead, it's optimal discomfort. The growth zone sits in a specific place, just beyond what you can already do comfortably, not far beyond. Just beyond. This is key. It's stretched, but not shattered. You will know what this looks like in your own life. You know yourself better than anyone. In conversation, it could be approaching the person that you don't know at all, rather than gravitating to your normal group of people. It could be a financial decision, something that you've researched thoroughly but kept putting off because you're never quite certain you're ready yet. None of these are dramatic. None of them actually require you to blow up your life. Instead, they are small, deliberate, repeated pushes at the edge of what you already currently know how to do. Each one biologically lays down a little more myelin. Each one widens the zone slightly. And each one means that next time, the edge is a little further out. Over time, not quickly, this is key. Over time, what terrified you last year becomes last year's comfort zone. The world available to you keeps expanding, but only if you keep choosing the edge over the center. Finally, moving either way, come back to the version of your life that you're not living. It hasn't disappeared and it hasn't moved. What's changed is the distance between where you are and where it is. Because here's the thing that nobody says clearly enough. You're never actually standing still. Every day you push the edge of your comfort zone, it grows. But every day you choose to retreat from it and choose comfort, it shrinks. There is no neutral. There is no maintenance mode for human life. It's either push forward or fall behind. Maslow said you have to choose again and again because safety always feels like the smarter option. But this is only in the short term because it feels like rest. It feels like wisdom. But after long enough, it starts to feel like walls. The version of your life you are not living is still there for the taking, but it requires one thing from you. And this one thing only you can provide, and no one else can substitute for you. It is the decision to start. If you found value in this, make sure to like and subscribe to join the Perspectus community. We're building something meaningful here, and I'd like to hear your perspective too, so drop it in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.